Welcome back to the Valentine Show, guys. I'm your host, Valentine. Expecting you guys are having a wonderful and blessed day. One of the most important videos ever to be done on this channel is going to happen today. With me, I have a veteran of the armed forces, a person that I have followed on YouTube for a couple of years. He has no clue because I followed him and see his content and love his content, love his message and where he's coming from. A Christian man like me and like a lot of you guys out there. Welcome to the Valentine Show, Mr. His name on YouTube is Jarhead6. His name is Mr. Fabian. Fabian, thank you so much for being with us today. How you doing today, my brother?
Good, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. And I just love being being here and being in this conversation.
Yeah, today we are going to be talking about, there's a lot of civil unrest. There's a lot of politics. There's a lot of craziness going on in the United States. This has literally forced a lot of people who were not previously interested in acquiring a firearm to be considering one because of the political atmosphere, because the attacks on the cops, because the cops, instead of the bad guys being arrested and handcuffed, now literally the officers are being handcuffed and arrested, and they're not able to do their jobs. The Second Amendment, which is the amendment that gives us the freedom to buy guns and protect ourselves, is under attack. Just recently, an attorney general of New York has done a lawsuit against the NRA, the National Rifle Association, because they want to disband them. So there's a lot of increased hostility towards people with guns and the Second Amendment. I'm not apologetic about this. All coming from the left, all coming from the Democratic Party. Today, what we're going to address is the beginner firearm buyer, a woman, a person maybe like me, and a person that has no idea what is the difference between a shotgun, the most feared gun of all, an AR-15, which is not, a pistol, or a wheel gun, also a revolver, and what should I buy for home defense? Something that I should keep at home. Why should I carry with me on a daily basis, etc., etc., etc. I'm gonna be playing the beginner guy. Mr. Fabian here is gonna be the gun gun expert. But before we get started, Mr. Fabian, because you tell us a little bit about your experience with gun, your service to the United States Armed Forces.
Yeah, man, for sure. I mean, I served in the Marine Corps for 11 years, 5 months, and 20 days to be exactly. I made it to the rank of staff sergeant, which it was amazing. I love the Marine Corps, but at one point I got hurt and I had to have some surgery, and you know what? I had to get out, and I don't regret it. I miss it sometimes, but I was a military police, so did a couple of deployments to Iraq and Afghanistan, so I saw some bad things. But here we are, talking about the good Lord. Amen. And talking about the right to protect yourself. You have that right. It's biblical. Get into arguments with people about this all the time, but it's biblical. Yeah. God doesn't want you to die or be killed by somebody. God wants you to protect your family. So that's something that it's always mind blowing from a Christian man. I don't know where in the Bible.
That's a taboo in Christianity that says that men can have, Christian men should not have guns and they should leave it up to the Lord. No, Joshua 1:9 says, be strong and courageous. You have to put the human effort also into protecting yourself and your family.
And we got to remember that the good Lord is the God of action. He wants us to, he wants us to take action. A lot of times we say we're praying about this. No, God is the God of action. Do something about it.
Big time. I think that's lacking in Christianity a lot today. But let's get into the store. I am going into right now, Mr. Fabian. I just opened the door of Jarhead's Firearms. I'm going in, and you are wait for me at the door. I say to you, listen, what type of firearm, Mr. Fabian, will you recommend for me for home defense? Meaning a firearm that I have in my house exclusively. What would you recommend?
Well, I want to kind of take a step back first. Okay. First of all, buying a gun is a serious deal. So I feel like nowadays with the video games, with YouTube, with all this stuff, people get into the cool things, and I got some rifles here that are, I mean, very cool. I
Uh,
mean, look at
uh,
this
look-
rifle. This rifle is as cool as you can, you
wow,
know. I mean, this is nice, and
that's
this thing is
amazing.
actually a lot of. I mean, you I probably got about over $1,000 in here, right? Easy, maybe 13, 1,400 bucks. But you know, there's a cool factor. But we got to
Listen,
realize that
listen,
guns.
man. I'm excited just looking at them, man. And we're thousands of miles away, and I'm excited just at looking at them. But that's what you're talking about, the cool factor.
Yeah,
But it's not a game. This is not a game.
yeah,
This is something
is
serious.
not a game, and you know, and guns are, you know, I like guns, right? I mean, there's a reason why I got so many. I like the sport of shooting. I like the sport of you know, there's nothing more exciting of hitting a target at 200 yards or 300 yards. I mean, it's exciting, but at the same time, we got to remember guns are a very dangerous thing, and we
Yes.
got to take precautions, because if we don't and somebody gets hurt, you become something that I call the inside threat. So you bring one of those guns to the house, and there is a gun you brought into the house,
Yeah.
so you got to protect your children. And you know, obviously, if you're looking, I know in your state, you guys, I don't think you guys carry guns in New York, but in Florida everybody has a gun.
Yeah.
So if you find yourself in a confrontation, you got to realize that there is a gun, you have it. You get what I'm saying? There's always a gun. You have one. And how many times we see in the news, you know, some crazy dude with a gun takes the gun out, and next thing you know, something bad happens. So again, you know, you misrepresent the Second Amendment,
All the
and
time,
you just,
sadly.
you know, you're gonna get in trouble, and go to jail for no reason. So again, you know, realize that guns are a needed thing that you may want to have if you're a law-abiding citizen, if
Mm-hmm.
you're a person that could purchase guns to protect your family. But you have to have something in place. You see behind me, I got a safe right there. I mean, that safe right there holds my guns. And I got kids. I got 3 kids. I got one that is 3.5. Obviously, he doesn't understand weapons education. My 16 and my 12, I could tell them about guns. I could show them my guns. I could educate them about my guns. But you can't do that with a 3-year-old. You know what I'm
Yeah, of
saying?
course not. Of course not.
So, I mean, he doesn't understand. So, before we even make the decision, we're gonna get a gun. We need to make the decision of realizing this is something that could potentially save my family or could potentially hurt my family. So I need to put in my plan of buying the gun, I
Mm-hmm.
need to put, maybe I need to buy a safe, or maybe, you know, maybe you're a single guy, you live by yourself, and you just, you don't have nobody, you know, in your house, and it's okay. You have the gun on you, you put it in the night table, you put it on you, night table with you, and that's fine. But if you have kids and things like that, we gotta realize that. And also, you know, knowing the law. How many guys go to jail for not knowing the law? You know, people pull the guns out, they get in trouble, and people don't get training. You know, so a lot of times guys spend $500 on a pistol, and then you don't know how to use this pistol, and that's dangerous right there. You know what I'm saying? So you need to make that commitment as well.
So the first step into getting a gun is actually thinking about the safety part of it and the
Hmm.
training part of it also, how to use this tool, because that's what it is, a tool, and how to keep it safe.
Right, right. And I mean, I'm never gonna concur. I don't. Some people get into like, oh, the state should mandate this. Listen, the state mandates so many things already. We good on the state mandating things. I mean, like, is insane. Like now we're hearing that in California you can't sing in churches because the state is mandating nonsense. But you know what I'm saying? But you need to make that decision as a man, because you want to protect your family, or
Yeah.
as a lady, you want to protect your family, and you know you got to be able to know the law, and you got to be able to know, know what you're doing. I remember it had to be a few years ago.
Hmm.
There was a lady who used to watch a channel, and she said, "I never thought about getting a gun
Hmm.
into I drove in my driveway, and a guy pulled car and sexually assaulted me on the side
Wow.
of my house, right there next to my driveway." So, you know, when we do these videos, you know, we realize that there's people out there actually watching
Yeah.
that are looking for this
Yes.
information,
Yes.
because you know what I'm saying? They're going through some crazy stuff that, you know, that's just crazy, right? So, I mean, there's many types of different guns, right?
For home
And you asked me
defense,
about it
about the
for
home
home
defense,
defense,
yes, something that's going to be a home defense. What do you
right?
recommend? What is on the top of
So
you?
home defense, let's say, I mean, it always come back depends, right? Because here's the thing, budget money, it has a lot to do with that. When I
Mm-hmm.
came back from when I got out of the deployment, I don't think I had too much money, and I wanted to buy something for home defense,
Mm-hmm.
and I bought a shotgun, and it was a shiny shotgun, and I had it in the safe. I haven't, let me push it out, but I haven't taken it out in like forever. It was in the back of the safe, but it was this thing right here.
Okay.
And I put this stock, and I put this. I think it's called a tax star.
Mm-hmm.
You put rounds in there, and I put a slim and things. But this thing was like $200. You know
So,
what I'm saying?
so explain to
So
us what is a shotgun. What is like? What does it shoot? Why do they call it a shotgun? What does it shoot?
So, a shotgun usually, what I like about a shotgun that is a
Mm-hmm.
very versatile tool. You could use this for home defense. I mean, this thing costs some damage. It shoots a 12 gauge typically. You could get it on, I believe, 16 gauge if I'm correctly. I mean, it's different types of gauges. I'm more familiar with the 12 gauge
Mm-hmm.
because it's the one that I usually use. 12 gauge is pretty much the most popular out there. But I mean, again, you could use different rounds. The 12 gauge has different rounds, and if you go to the stores, you have self defense round, turkey lows.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you name it.
So,
So
so
the
what is it?
round is
What is the round? What is inside of that? Because it's like a little. A lot of people seen it's like a little red cartridge. And what is inside of that round?
it's I mean, literally, it depends what you and I took all these guns. I knew I was gonna forget something. I should have brought a 12 gauge round, but
Uh-huh.
it depends which one you buy. So you
Mm-hmm.
have birdshot, which is like a bunch of little pellets, very very small in the inside.
Mm-hmm.
You have like different ones that have seven. You have some that have a slug that is just a
Oh,
big piece of metal,
exactly. Like
right,
so, like
coming
one
towards
big
you.
bullet. So basically, so when you shoot the shotgun, if it's the little ones, the little pellets inside, basically it spreads and
It basically is spread, right,
it
and
covers a bigger field.
it covers a bigger field, but it's not like you see in the movie. Sometimes people think that you shoot and it's going to be huge. It's not going to be like that. And again, some of the shotguns, like this one, doesn't have it, but they have some chokes and things like that you can adjust that spread as
Okay.
well. And again, some shotguns, like this is a home defense shotgun right here,
Mm-hmm.
right? So pretty much for home defense. This is like an 18-inch barrel. I believe it's like an 18.
Okay.
But you could change the barrel. Some
Okay.
people have a shotgun that is for home defense,
Uh-huh.
and then they have a longer barrel for hunting and things like that. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it gives you that flexibility that you could go from home defense to hunting if
How,
you want to do that,
how
right?
many rounds could some of these take around roughly? Like how, rounds, and when we talking about rounds, it means for the people that don't know, is like how many. Basically, you could call them bullets, but how many rounds would this take?
Well, this one, oh man, I got so
Roughly, like what, like
I think
10,
it's up. I think no, this one holds about six. I want to
6?
say, and again, the tube is right here. The bottom portion right here. This part right here is the tube, and I think this one holds about six. But again, the rounds is different size of rounds. So if you
Mm-hmm.
buy a smaller one, you'll
You
be
could
able
fit
to fit
more.
more. You also could extend the tube right here to have like an extension, like a plus two and things like that.
Uh-huh.
So what I'm saying is that you could buy something like this that is $200 and allows you to grow. You could hook it up a little bit.
Mm.
You could trick it out a little bit. Like I say, you could put a plus two, and you could do a lot of stuff to a shotgun. Obviously, you could put an optic if you want to. People do that as well, um, and things like that. I mean, this gun right here, to tell you the truth, for my personal liking
Mm-hmm.
or I don't, I barely use it. Like I say, it was in the back of my gun safe, and I
Uh-huh.
haven't taken it out in years. I should make sure that it works. but
Okay.
this is, but again, this gun right here for me is not my home defense firearm. Although it could be if I want to. You know what I'm saying? It
Uh,
was at one point.
okay. What else do you recommend? What other type of rifle would you recommend for home defense?
So here's the thing about this shotgun right here,
Uh-huh.
though. A lot of times you find it really cheap, and again, I said the budget. So for $200, some people are tend to buy a shotgun because you may get something that is more reliable than a pistol. If you buy a pistol for $20, you may not be able to, you know what I'm saying, to get something as reliable as a shotgun.
And it's something for $200, a $200 shotgun, which is nothing. Is that a
Mhm.
reliable firearm, something that you could rely on?
So we go back to like this is I guess a question that a lot of people say. Well, how much is your family's value to you? You know what I'm saying?
Yes, yes.
I mean, in that point, at that particular situation of my life, that's what I had. And
Hmm.
I wanted to get a gun to protect my family. And again, that's what I have. We don't know people's where they at financially right now. Right
Right now.
now, obviously, like I say, I have so many guns since then that I don't even use that shotgun no more. It's in the back of the safe. I took it out just because you asked me, and I really don't have any other shotguns. But again, there and two, some states is easier for you to buy a rifle than buying a pistol too. So
Yeah.
that's something that you got to keep in mind.
There
You
was
get what I'm saying?
there's a friend of mine who lives in Maryland, and he told me that you don't even need like you don't need a permit to get a rifle. You could just go get it, and that's it basically. So that's something else that you have to take into account, which is depending on
Right.
the state where you live, what are the laws regarding where you live at?
Right. And again, when I bought the shotgun coming out of the military, the section that I was in North Carolina,
Mm.
they require you like extra paperwork as you were out
Mhm.
of the military for pistols and cells. So I decided just to go with a shotgun because I needed something to have in the house, right? But
Mm.
I mean, there is some shotguns out there that are 400, $500. There are, Remington 870, the Mossberg 590 is the one that the military had.
That's the
The
one that I've heard. The Mossberg one is a brand that I've
Yeah,
heard, and it's a reliable one.
yeah. Well, the Mossberg 500 is a great shotgun. The 590 is the one I believe is the one that the military won the contract. I think we carried those in Iraq back in 2004,
Wow.
but I really can't remember. But again, shotguns are great. If you're looking for a gun, just it's just a great gun to have. But when it comes down to like pistols, because this is actually a pistol that I
Okay.
like a lot. So this right here is a ZZP07. And I'm gonna tell you, I love this pistol. And as you can see, this pistol is a little bit more tricked out. Like this pistol is actually suppress ready. So it
Okay.
has here to put a suppress. Now I don't own any suppressors, but obviously that's something that this pistol have. It has sights that are elevated. So this one's a little bit more into not just your normal pistol, right? But a little bit more checked out. But what I like about a pistol, first of all, me personally, I would look for a pistol that has a good reputation, and
Mm-hmm.
that's coming down to any guns. Good reputation will be my first thing if I have the money. Obviously, like I said, the shotgun, I only had $200 when
Yeah,
I
yeah.
did that many years ago. But if I have the money, good reputation, a pistol that have a good capacity, always being something that I need to have
So
because
so that
this
one, for
this
example, what does that have? How many? What's the capacity on that
this
one?
one right here has 17 rounds because I actually has uh, a plus two. And what I put so many things out here. Okay, I don't know where I put the mag. So this one, oh, right here. So you see, this is the magazine right here, right? So it has actually a plus two round extension right there. And as you can see, those rounds are home defense, personal defense rounds. So again, so this pistol right here, which by the way, all these guns has been clear, just because we're making videos, and a
Yeah.
lot of times people tell you, "Oh, the gun is clear." Yeah, I got the guns here. I want to make sure they're clear. So, um, but again, this pistol right here, like I said, being clear, and it's just a great gun. 17 rounds, great reputation, a pistol that I have used many times. That's something else. If you buy a gun, you want to make sure that it works, right?
Mhm.
And to me, one important factor is this rail right here. And the
Okay.
reason why is because you could put a weapon slide. So in this gun right now, actually my gun that I carry for home defense, which is in the location in the other side of the house,
Um,
I have my weapon slide on that gun, right? So
and why do you
again,
choose to put a weapons light on there?
well, you got to think about this. You got to be able to see the target. If you can't see the target, you know what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
can't shoot something you can't see. And more importantly, you want to make sure that it's actually a bad guy and it's actually a
Oof.
threat to you.
So you're imagining a waking up late in the middle of the night, not having time to turn on no lights or anything like that. You want to make sure that your gun or your weapon has a light on it. That way you could identify the bad guy.
Right. Right. And again, there's a lot of dilemma. People usually argue about this. Some people argue about, handheld versus a weapon slide, right? But you got to think about this. When it comes to like home defense, you ain't carrying this gun. This is not your gun typically that you're going to carry every single day. So because you're not going to carry it, it doesn't matter if it's really heavy or not. You know what I'm saying? You have it in your nine table, you have it in your safe, and you're going to grab it in case something bad happens.
Yeah.
So again, the weight and things like that to me is not a concern because what it comes to a concern for my concealed carry gun, and my concealed carry gun is a total different weapon.
Which is,
You get what I'm
and
saying?
let me explain that to the people, Fabian. There's a difference between a gun that you will have in your home, which might be a larger gun and maybe a little bit cumbersome or uncomfortable to conceal carry it on your person. We are going to
Mhm.
get into what type of uh
Yeah, concealed.
what type of guns would you carry on your person? Because for the
Mhm.
most part, you wanna have something that not smaller and not necessarily that people will see that you have a gun on you, and that's
Right.
why you're saying that you have this gun which is a little bit bigger, a little bit more cumbersome, but it does carry 17 rounds of what is that 9 millimeter?
Yeah, in my choice, that's 9 mil. That's what I decided too. But obviously, you got 40, you got 45 caliber, and people, whatever caliber tickles you. You know what I'm saying?
Caliber, it means the size of the gun. There's bigger ones, there's smaller
Mhm.
ones, but for example, that way a lot of the police officers in the United States carry 9 millimeter. 9 millimeter is a very
Mhm.
popular round, and around that you could find it in a lot of places. So um that's something for you to consider, but it's a good choice to have a 9 millimeter weapon. So
Yeah.
you have those. So you were saying something else?
Yeah, so I mean, again, for a pistol, for me, it's just good reputation,
Mm-hmm.
good capacity, because you don't know how many people are going to be there. From some of the videos that we do, we typically see multiple people, attacking a
In the
house.
yes, that
Right.
definitely true.
So 17 rounds, obviously spare magazines and things like that, and a weapons light and your handheld. And there's people get into dilemmas about this all the time about the weapons light
Uh-huh.
versus actually a handheld light.
Mhm.
And it's really not a dilemma. You can have both. 'Cause obviously if I have a weapons light and I turn this light on and I'm shining down a hallway or something, I may
Mhm.
be, and I'm thinking, my kid is coming inside the house. You may be flagging your kid. So I always say, well, have both. Again, you're gonna put this gun in your nine table or in a little safe. There's no reason, or you can. Let's not argue about it. Have both. you
Exactly. I
know.
mean, it's not a problem, but I know that sometimes in the gun community, it's a problem for some of us to very little things sometimes become big issues for no reason. Like you said, just have both. Is there
Yeah.
another weapon? Is there another rifle that you would recommend for home defense?
Well, yeah, but here's the thing. The basic guy. Here's the thing.
Uh huh.
The basic guy with this guns, they're usually fine. A lot of guys
The
like
beginner.
we talk about the beginner. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of guys usually introduce themselves to guns with a shotgun, and then
Okay.
usually introduce themselves to a pistol.
Okay.
I think that there is a big difference between we before we get to that
Mm-hmm.
AR. There is a big difference between a shotgun and a rifle, and I usually recommend people to get a pistol first. And the reason
Mm.
why is because this thing right here is something that obviously you can conceal. So here's the thing that I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say something happens, right? Let's say here in the state of Florida something happened and you need to move or you need to leave your house. It will be very difficult for you to live with a shotgun. I mean, you're gonna give away that gray man concept. People are gonna know you have a gun. If you
Okay.
walk around with a gun, people will be like, "What is wrong with that guy with a gun?" So when you get a pistol, it's very easy for you to like to say something like, "All right, there's an incident, something happened. I need to move out of my house. I could bring a gun with me. I could put it in my car." Obviously there's some legal stuff there. Some states, when it goes into like emergency,
Mm-hmm.
state of emergency, some states allow you to conceal carry. So
Okay.
um, knowing the law and being able to transport yourself with a pistol is just way easier than having a shotgun and things like that. So I always think that a pistol is something that you could use for multiple different applications
So
versus a shotgun.
you will recommend for the beginner, again, for the beginner here, if they're gonna get just one gun, just one, to get a
Hmm.
pistol.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, again, we're going into the people argue about this, but to me, yeah, because it's just easier. It's easier to have a pistol. It's easier, in my opinion, just as an opinion.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to shoot this gun. It is more friendly for more people. It's not the same thing getting this big rifle than getting this gun. Right now, we're talking about tactics. If I go down, do my wife know how to use this rifle? Right,
Makes
a
perfect
shotgun
sense.
may look, yeah, shotgun may look easy to me and you and be like, yeah, no brainer. But the guy that have no idea may be like, what is this? I don't even know how to use this. A pistol, people are usually more familiar. People usually use it just easier.
Mm-hmm.
But like I say, is something happen, you could put it in your truck and you could drive out and still protect your family, right?
And go, and you still have 17 rounds of
And you
ammo,
still have 17 rounds
which
and
is
all that stuff.
plenty, 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 plenty.
So, and again, we're talking about like something really bad happen, and we see in the riots or something like that. Your house gets attacked and you have to walk out of your house. Think about this.
Mm-hmm.
You're going with your wife and two kids. You think you're walking out with a shotgun? People are going to be looking at you. People are going to
One.
be like, what is that guy? You're going to lose that gray man concept. But if you have a pistol, you could put it in your holster. You could walk out and you could still maintain that, low
Calm,
profile.
and as a matter of fact, and thank God that, because you have to speak to people like you that have, a different view, or have a more of experience view, because it does make sense. Let's say you do have to leave your house and you do have that pistol on you, or you have that, let's say you have that shotgun. It makes you a target also,
Yeah.
because they're like, okay, what is this person doing with this rifle out here, that he did something
Hmm.
bad? Do even the other bad guys now, okay, we gotta attack the person who has the gun? I mean, it just
Hmm.
makes you pop out like a sore thumb. I mean, it just makes you pop
Yeah.
out, and it makes 100%
Well,
perfect sense.
remember, the best firefight, the best way to win a firefight is not getting yourself in a firefight. So if you could keep a low profile, that's the best thing you could do.
100%. Let's get now to that black weapon, the most feared
Oh,
weapon, the
the
scariest
scary
weapon
one.
ever on the history of the internet, on the history of the politicians. This is Explain to us what this is. How does it fire? What is the different they call it? Is this an assault rifle, as they call it?
I mean, here, the first thing we gotta know is that guns don't kill people. People do.
Facts.
That's a fact. I mean, look, I got several guns around here. I
Yeah.
mean, I talk to them. I tell them to relax. But so
They
far,
go- they
we
be they're
so far
behaving.
we're doing good.
I like
Yeah,
them. I'm gonna invite them next time for the show too. Those guns are
yeah,
doing
I know,
perfectly
I
good, man.
know.
I love these hosts. These
Yeah,
guests. I mean,
but AR-15. I mean, by the assault weapon, by there's a definition there. I don't, we know that the AR-15 doesn't meet that definition. I don't know exactly how the entire definition goes, so I don't want to go into that. But to me, it's just a great rifle because this rifle, and I say many times, this is a rifle that I recommend anybody to have. First of all, it's a lot of fun. People forget that. This rifle is a lot of fun. If you ever go shooting an AR-15, you're gonna have a blast.
mhm,
I go shooting with people, and people are like, "Wow, it's so much fun." It's not as scary as people see it in the internet. Doesn't kick that much.
mhm,
It's just a fun rifle to shoot. But obviously, you have a magazine. In free states, you have your 30 round magazine that is standard. It's not high capacity. It's standard magazine, and you shoot a 5.56. Now, nowadays they have so many different calibers that you could get in different caliber, but the pretty much the popular one is the 223 5.56.
okay,
Right, that's pretty much what the military has, the 5.56. Nowadays they have it in weird stuff, but 5.56 is a standard. But again, the thing about rifles is that you're more accurate, way more accurate, and typically it's because there's more. I think they call it, and again, I'm not such an expert, but I think they call it 3-point contact. So essentially, you have it here in your shoulder, you have this contact, and you have this contact. So this right here, you can see it allows you to have a fantastic stable position
mm,
compared to a pistol, right? Where you have a pistol, this thing right here will get you tired eventually, and little movements makes a difference.
mhm,
So again, a rifle. It's just easy to shoot because you have that good standard precision. You have good control. You could
Mm-hmm.
hold it really well. Usually, you could put things like optics. This optic right here is Trigicon MRO, I believe. Yeah, MRO. And again, this is a great optic and it's a red dot. So what I'm doing right here is that I'm looking through the optic. I got a little red dot, and essentially it's very simple. Put the red dot where I want to shoot and engage. Now there is some stuff that we got to do with the optic called a VCO, and we have to set up the optic to the rifle and things like that. But
Mm-hmm.
once it's in place, it's just a very easy rifle to shoot, right? I got this one. This rifle is actually my wife, and this rifle right here is mine. You can see just a little bit of difference. Like again, you could set it up kind of how you want to, different stock there, different optics. This is
Because
a
that's the
total
thing,
different.
they're really highly customizable.
Right. And again, it's just one of those things that you could buy them, and little by little you could make it your own. You see this one right here has a flashlight, right?
Mm.
So now again, I could do that for home defense, and now I could turn my light to identify the bad guy. But the thing about this rifles, man, to tell you the truth, is that it allows you. This is a rifle that you could use to protect your family, no doubt about it. But again, there's some training that you got to take in consideration, because the way you move with a rifle in a house is not the same way you move with a pistol in a house. Obviously, this is longer. You're going to be doing some tactics, some movement. But again, this is a little bit more advanced kind of
Okay.
stuff, but at the same time, it's not scary. You know
So
what I'm saying?
let me ask you this: is this basically a military the military rifle besides the fully automatic part?
Pretty much. Pretty much. Now, there is
So
obviously the
and
military rifle.
and when you give your answer, explain to the people how does this shoot, the whole semi-automatic thing, what this is. But before you answer that, for the people that are here, please give it a like, please give it a comment. It always helps out when you guys do this stuff. We need to share, because YouTube is not helping us share. So you guys got to give a comment, give a like, subscribe, do all that stuff. We're gonna get into his channel in a few. So explain to us that whole shooting situation, when there's a lot of confusion with even with politicians, the whole semi-automatic. Is this rifle, does this rifle shoot, you press the trigger and you could basically empty out the magazine, or you need to
No,
one pull, one bullet?
one pull, one round, man.
Okay,
And the
that.
thing about it
Mm-hmm.
is that obviously the media makes it look different, but uh, this rifle shoots the same way that this pistol pretty much shoots. The
So
same concept,
basically that pistol is a semi-automatic pistol.
basically.
So as a
This is a semi-automatic pistol.
our revolver is also basically considered a semi-automatic weapon, because once you fire, it reloads again.
Yeah, the cylinder moves. So every time
Uh-huh.
you put the trigger and this little revolver here, every time the cylinder will move around. So essentially, it's different than a shotgun. Now, a shotgun, this pump. I mean, there's semi-automatic shotguns, but this is a pump shotgun. So if I fire, when I fire a round, that pump is going to be released, and then I could do that. So what I just did here, manually with my hand, is what, because that's a pump shotgun,
Mhm.
is what the rifle would do by himself,
Okay, so that's why
right?
they call it semi-automatic.
Semi-automatically. So
Okay.
as I push this trigger
Mm-hmm.
around, there's going to be an explosion that is going to happen here.
Mm-hmm.
A round's going to come out, and that blast is going to bring that bolt back to the rear. It's going to come forward. It's going to pick up another round, and it's going to chamber another round.
Mm.
And every time you pull the trigger, that's what it's going to do. Every single time you pull the trigger, a round goes off, and obviously picks up another round. So it's the same concept of this pistol. When you pull the trigger, and as you pull the trigger,
Mm-hmm.
obviously you're going to pull the trigger, the slide comes back, comes forward, picks up a round, chambers another round. You hear the reset, probably here. It reset, and then you could pull the trigger again, and then the same concept. That's just a semi-automatic rifle, or a semi-automatic pistol, semi-automatic rifle. So fully automatic will be if you pull the trigger and a ton of round comes out,
Mm.
right? And I mean, there, as far as I know, there's places that you could get those guns, but the basic person cannot get that. I
Hmm.
mean, the amount of money that you have to pay on permits and or licenses and all that stuff is just quite ridiculous.
And at the end, you don't really need that. You don't really need it for self defense in the home. But you were
Well,
saying,
I
uh
mean, me personally, I mean, I'm not a person that would like to give away my rights or agree to many things, because we know that the entire purpose of this gun laws is to take away our guns. It's
big time.
proven they're constantly attacking us. So, it's kind of hard to compromise, because they always says you got to compromise. And I say, well, if I give you something, what are you giving me in return? Because what you want to give me in return is take all my guns. So, but typically in fully automatic weapons are used in combat environments to
Hmm.
suppress a target.
Hmm.
So you engaging a target and you put in so many rounds that allows personnel to move into a location or to
Hmm.
flank attack and things like that. That's typically what automatic fire is used for. Um, I don't like it, me personally. I wouldn't never use automatic fire, because we got to think about this. You're responsible for every round you shoot.
Okay.
So obviously you want to be, you want to make sure that you don't hurt somebody,
And
because
with
it's
that,
hard to control.
and with that statement, I've heard people, and it makes perfect sense that an AR-15 for an apartment where you have
Hmm.
your neighbors are literally like a dry wall away from you, a AR-15 and the round that it shoots has a lot of penetration. So there's some people that do not recommend an
Hmm.
AR-15 as a home defense weapon for an apartment. Will you agree with that statement?
Yeah, I mean, that's something that I have heard as well. I probably wouldn't be, to me, probably not. Probably would stick to a gun.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that I would say is not so much I mean, to a pistol, but one thing that I said, don't concentrate so much on the firearm. Do a lot of research on the rounds, because there's some rounds specifically for that. You get what I'm saying? There's
Mm-hmm.
rounds out there that have less velocity. There's rounds right there out there that are for personal defense. So yeah, I mean an argument that a lot of people get into it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, don't get this, don't get that. But then again, when somebody's trying to hurt your family and yourself,
You don't care,
not a
man.
lot
You
of
you
guys are thinking about that.
you're doing what you have to do to get your
You're
family
doing
safe,
what
and
you have
and,
to
and
do.
I don't
Right.
blame anybody for doing what they have to do
Mhm.
to get their family safe. Let's get into this intermission. Fabian, where can the people find you? Where are you? I know you're on YouTube. Are you anywhere else? Tell the people the name of your YouTube channel. What exactly do you do on your YouTube channel? I know you've been getting into a little bit of
Mhm.
current events on your channel, but tell them exactly what you do, where they could find you.
Yeah, well, my channel name is Jarhead 6. I name it, obviously I named the channel Jarhead 6 because I was in the Marines. But if you type Jarhead 6 on YouTube, I come out. Um, and I think I do Instagram. I don't do much Instagram. I kind of stay to YouTube alone, because too many social medias I can't keep up. And
Oh my
you know,
God. Oh, it's a big problem, man.
but
Big problem.
I mean, I've been doing it for 7 years, coming up now August 21st, and I'm really not an expert or anything. What I do is that I share my life, and I tell people all the time, I mean, this is not a persona. This is not something that I'm pretending to be. The channel has close to 60,000 subscribers. It's great, but I never meant to do videos to get famous, or like, I was just sharing my life, and apparently there's like 60,000 people that agree
That agree.
with my lifestyle.
I remember I found you when you had like 30,000, and you were, and not only you, but a lot of people were mad about the whole YouTube cracking down on the gun channels, and you didn't know whether you
Right.
were going to continue or not. And look at this, a couple years later, you're at double that amount. So that's where they
Yeah, I
could
mean,
find you.
here's the thing, YouTube is a good platform because it allows to reach a lot of people, and a lot of times people say, "Well, go there, go here." I think that YouTube is a great platform to talk to people out there that may need this information.
Mm-hmm.
It may be silly to some of the guys that been around guns for a long time, but there's some guys out there that have no idea
Big
what an
time.
AR-15 is, and all they hear is that an AR-15 is used to kill kids.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? And then you see regular guys saying, "No, man, I got this rifle to protect my family,"
Mm-hmm.
because we see what's going on. And one thing that I wanted to mention that I didn't mention, compare to this rifle, compared to a pistol.
Mm-hmm.
I say you could shoot it, you could shoot a very stable platform, but remember this, you could reach and touch with this rifle, not as easy as you can reach and touch with a pistol. So at 100 yards, you could reach, and touch a target very, very easy with a rifle like this. Now, is it going to be something that you need to do? Most likely, no. Never in your life you're going to need
Yeah.
to do that. But sometimes it's good to have the ability to to do things, because again, you saw what happened in Missouri. That
Yeah.
guy walked out with an AR-15, and people just backed up,
Yep.
and just the presence of that rifle let people know that that guy wasn't messing
Wasn't
around.
messing
And
around.
you know,
We
if he would have
sadly,
had the rifle,
who knows what would have happened? Well, he said that he was afraid for his life, that they were gonna burn down the house and that they were gonna burn with him in it. So I mean, the police didn't come. He said that he had saw like a McDonald's somewhere in Missouri burn for like 40 minutes before the cops showed up. Imagine if he didn't have that gun, waiting for the cops to show up 40 minutes. As a matter of fact, the national average of cops showing to your home is about 10 minutes. What can people do in 10 minutes in your home? I mean, 10 minutes is an eternity to wait for
right,
somebody
right,
to
right.
come to your home when you could take that power into your own hands and do it. So, Jarhead 6, we were talking about that we could find you at Jarhead 6. You also do have a motorcycle channel. What's the name of the
Yeah,
channel?
yeah. It's called Jar 6, right? And I got a Road King, and I like riding motorcycles.
All right.
So
All right. All right.
I've been doing a lot of vlogs and stuff like that. It's just for fun,
Okay.
but it's growing on me. I mean,
All right, if you
I like
guys
it.
like motorcycle stuff, follow him there too. Let's continue here. Now let's get into everyday carry. A gun that we could carry on our persons to take to church, to take to Walmart, to take anywhere. What would you recommend for that type of weapon?
So I carry this gun right here, M&P Shield, that I've been carrying for years, and this is insane. Smith and Wesson sold like 4 million, 4 million, four
Wow.
million
Of those
pistols.
things?
I think it was like 4 million or something
Wow.
like that. 'Cause they were selling it for like $250. I mean, it was ridiculous. I mean, what a great price. I mean, this is a really nice pistol, and but
and,
to
and
me, it's
and the
just
main difference that you guys could see there is obviously the size compared to the CC right there. I mean, it's different,
well,
smaller.
not only the size. If you put this next to this, I mean,
Wow.
kind of hard to put it in camera, but not only the size, also the width. If you look at this gun
Ooh.
right here, this gun is a single stock firearm, so essentially is not as thick as this one. You can see the difference right there. Let me put it side by
There
side
you
with so
wow, massive the difference.
it's
Real
massive.
massive.
So when you wear a pistol inside your pants, you got to think about this. This pistol is gonna go. Let me get this holster right here, right? So this pistol is gonna go inside your pants. So this leather portion, the inside back here, is gonna be against your skin, right? And then your belt is gonna go through here, and essentially, or you're going to click this to your belt. So essentially, the pistol is going to be inside your pants. So again, having something that is so thick is just going to be really uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to carry, and I mean, again, I used to carry this when I just came out of the Marine Corps, and I guess I was motivated. Now I'm not no more. I'm 40 years old, but you want to carry something that you're always going to carry. I have a system that I always have. So whatever it is, I always want to have the system. And I've been carrying this gun for a while. Obviously, it's going to be a smaller gun. Obviously, it's going to have this one carries 7 rounds. 7 rounds. So obviously, 17 rounds. You already see the difference. Glock 17 carries 17 rounds, and then you see 6 right here, right? So, or 7. So you already see a difference of 10 rounds. That's why this is not the best idea for home defense. But again, it's very simple and it's very easy to carry. You will have the element of surprise. The bad guy doesn't know you have a gun. And that element of surprise could be the difference between you surviving an attack or
Mhm.
not, because he may initiate the attack, but he may not have any idea that you have a gun. And we have seen videos here where the dude with the gun is just standing by waiting. And the moment that he say, all right, I'm going to take my gun out, he actually stopped the confrontation. So again, something that you got to consider is a gun that you can carry. If you want to carry a big gun, you carry a big gun, but always carry a gun, right?
Yeah.
So I have a gun that is small enough for me, easy to carry, easy to conceal. Because once again, if you're in church and you raise your hand and your gun comes out, old lady behind you, she may flip out about it.
Old
You
lady
know,
or a little kid might say, "Hey, papi, look at that gun. He has a gun,"
yeah,
or
I have
something
a
like that.
gun, and then people with nowadays in the news, next thing you know, is calling the cops, and now you have to explain why your gun show. So you
Mm-hmm.
want to have something that is very, very concealable. To me, is important, right? And you want to have a good holster. This is really important. Good holster would allow you to, conceal carry. If you see this, just to show you, compare this to this, there is a difference. This is way smaller, but now you lose that protection of that leather in the back. So this is more uncomfortable to carry. I mean,
Mm.
yeah, it's smaller, but if you're gonna carry this all day, all this thing right here may poke you in your love handles and things like that.
So,
This right here is more comfortable because this leather protect you,
so
right? So
you would not recommend carrying without a holster? How about those people that might want to carry it without a holster inside the waistband?
no, absolutely not, because the biggest thing on a concealed carry piece is that you want to protect that trigger. If you see here,
Mm.
the trigger guard is protected. So what this does is that a lot of people say this, I want a gun with a safety. Well, actually the only gun that has a safety that I have is actually this one. And you see the little safety right there. And I never use the safety. I barely put it on. But what people don't understand, that more important, you want a good holster, because check this out. You see, you can you can stick your finger in there and shoot the gun. So a good holster allows you to protect that trigger, and it allows you not to have some type of ND where you shoot your gun accidentally or something like that. So with no holster, now this gun is clear, obviously. So how easy would it be that something goes into the trigger, right? And
Anything.
if you, yeah, and you pull it out of your pants or something, how easy is for you to grab that trigger and shoot yourself? And if you look at some of the safety rules, if you buy a gun, obviously, standard safety rules out there on the internet, keep your fingers straight off the trigger until you're ready to fire. You never want to put your finger in the trigger, right?
So
Guns
show him
don't
that.
go off.
How does that look? Show him that. Show. Grab the gun
Yeah, so
like that. So you
I
will
usually grab my
exactly
gun there,
like that before you're
and
ready.
again,
So talking about that lady, the couple in Missouri. I don't know if you
hmm
saw with detailed, but the wife, when she had her pistol, she had that pistol, that finger inside the trigger. Did you see that?
hmm
So
yeah,
that's
I did
actually
saw that.
very dangerous. If that lady
hmm
would get shocked or something, that gun would be going off. So that's why he
Right.
stresses to always have the gun parallel to the
hmm
to the to the muzzle of the gun and just have it like he showed it.
Well, and again, it goes back to the beginning of the video. We're talking
Mhm.
about training and all that. I don't blame them so much because they just regular Americans. They
Yeah,
don't,
yeah.
they never, most likely never been through any training or anything like that. But usually they teach you things like pointing your gun down. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like down into the ground. So if something happened, you're still facing down into the ground. The bullet would, the round would strike the floor versus striking somebody. There's many techniques out there where you are the low ready, where you're holding your gun down, and then when you go to the up ready, that means that it's about the fight, it's about to start. Then you're about to shoot. You pull your finger on the trigger. But
So how
I
would
mean,
you
they
get
just,
this because this is a pistol and we're gonna get into revolvers right now after this. But how do you get this pistol? How do you chamber around and how do you get it to fire? What do you have to do? You see the people cocking back the not the hammer but the
mm,
I don't know what the upper receiver I guess
well,
you
the
call it.
fight, yeah.
So how would
I
you do
mean,
it? How does that go in the difference? So you will put the magazine in, right?
right.
You'll put the magazine in and then cock the top part back and then oh,
Yeah, I mean, essentially, you put your magazine in there and you rack it back. And the biggest mistake, I mean, this is pretty for the new guy out there, but the biggest mistake usually is that people push it back and then they ride it forward. It's kind of like a slingshot. You kind of like let the pistol do his job and come
mm,
forward. Usually, what happened is that when you insert that magazine, which I have someplace around here. Obviously, when you insert the magazine, this is the magazine that I have right here, and this is actually my carry gun. That's why it has 4 rounds, but it's right here. That round would be, with chamber. and again, your gun will be ready to fire. You get what I'm saying? Now, if I have a holster, so the moment that I chamber my gun, I put it back in my holster, and now that gun is protected because,
Super
like I say, you
safe.
see, that's safety right there,
For
right?
some people,
And
some people are afraid of their gun going off by mistake, and they're afraid of that. But I see that with that holster, there's a lot of protection and safety just
right.
by getting that holster.
Well, it's not. Some people are, but primarily it's because a lot of people haven't take training, and a lot of
Mm,
people haven't done anything like this. So, when you never done any of this kind of stuff,
mm.
it's actually scary, man. This guns could be scary if you don't know what's going on here, right? If you new guy and I give you and I say, "Hey, here, hold this rifle for me," you'll be like, "Whoa," I'm
Yeah.
scared. Like, what am I touching
Yeah,
here?
yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I'm saying?
It has happened to me. My brother, who has a firearm, he had a firearm permit in New Jersey. He bought it legally, everything, and he has his firearm. And I didn't want to touch the firearm. Why?
Right.
Because it's a firearm. You always hear, oh, you don't want your fingerprints on the firearm or all this and the TV shows and whatnot. Now, the revolver, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit simpler for maybe a woman or maybe a guy that wants something simpler. What is the advantages of the revolver in simplicity wise?
Well, I mean, and I have disagreed with some of those statements. Like, I don't think it's as simple
Okay.
as people make it seem, and not actually. And again, some people disagree. There's a lot of personal things in
Opinions,
here, right? I have shot a lot of revolvers in my life. This one actually belongs to my little brother,
Okay.
and this is a 642 Smith and Wesson.
And what
This
does it shoot?
revolver is
What does
cool.
that shoot? What does that shoot?
It
38?
shoots 38, right? 38 special, which you see, I don't even know what kind of rounds he had in this thing, but as you can see this right here,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see it. Perfect.
but you see that round is very
Wow.
different because it's actually in the inside. I've never even seen this.
It
Uh,
doesn't even look like it has a round there.
because usually you see, usually a round, this is a 9 mil, a round has that tip right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So again, I don't know what rounds he's using. He came by the house and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna put my gun in your safe," and I said, "Okay." And now we're making this video, so I took it out. But the thing about a revolver is like you said it right. It's very easy. Like you release that cylinder,
Uh-huh.
you put rounds in the cylinder, and you close it, and I mean you're ready to go. I mean, what else? You got 6 rounds. Obviously, some people say, well, for home defense, it's not really great because you're losing rounds. Usually, you don't have a rail. There's some revolvers that have rails,
Mm-hmm.
but typically they don't, and things like that. But for concealed carry, they're really nice. I like him, and it works fine. My only concern about these guns is me personally when I've shot it, a gun like this is the 642 lightweight, are so lightweight and so easy to shoot, but at the same time they kick a lot. So you won't have fun shooting this gun.
You will
You won't.
not. No?
No,
Oh.
no. So if you take a gun like this that is, a Glock 17 that looks really big and all that, you could shoot a couple hundred rounds and have a great time. But to me, in my personal opinion, when these guns are really not so much fun. They kick a lot. They do after 50 rounds, you're gonna feel it. So the problem with that is that when you have a gun that you don't enjoy to shoot, then you don't get good at it.
That makes
You know what I'm
perfect
saying?
sense. That makes perfect
So
sense.
so if you have a motorcycle that you really enjoy to ride and you ride it every day, eventually you're gonna get really good at it. But if you don't like it, it may be an issue. So again, I always consider little revolvers like this to be something because look how small this thing is. When you shoot it, you're gonna feel it. I always consider this to be more of an experienced shooter,
Okay.
in my opinion. But again, that's just my opinion.
And there are
But
other sizes of revolver. For example, there's one that I really like, and the day I buy a gun, I'm gonna buy one of them. Is the
mhm,
Smith and Wesson 686 7-shot. I like that
yep,
revolver. Yeah, it's a nice it's a bigger frame revolver. It does
mhm,
fire. Is able to fire 357 Magnum and 357. So it's a little bit of what they called in the gun world a little bit of a hotter load, but the revolver is
mhm,
a bit bigger, so it might handle the recoil. Well, I've seen videos where people say that it shoots really nice. So,
yeah.
but that's it. Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing that I want to mention. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Bigger revolvers hold it a lot easier than little ones. But the thing about a lot of people, and again, it's just my personal opinion. But the thing about this compared to this that a lot of people like, look at these two choices for concealed carry. But as you can see, it's so simple for people to pull some rounds and close it
And then ready to
versus
shoot.
actually putting a magazine, racking the slide, and doing all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I can see why some people look at a little revolver like this and be
Yeah.
like, oh man, it's so easy. And it is easy. I'm not saying it's not, but just know that in my opinion, some of those little revolvers are not as easy to shoot as people may think. You get what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? You're gonna have to put some time in the range, and you're gonna have to master. And remember, little revolvers like this are for close, very close distance.
Okay.
So we got to keep that in mind as well.
Great. There's not one topic here that we didn't cover on this video. Whoever saw this video from the beginning to the end knows exactly, or might know has a great idea of what they are going to have to get. Again, it's because of the atmosphere that the United States has found itself in. We are heading into an election, November 3rd, which is going to be very contested. And knowing the way that these people react if Mr. Trump, which I believe he's going to get reelected, if Donald Trump, let me say like this, when Donald Trump gets reelected, there might be
Amen.
some type of, social unrest because these people they're not logical human beings. They're irrational and let's say it, they're evil human beings. A lot of these people are evil human beings because they want to destroy businesses and want to kill people, et cetera, et cetera. So it's in your best interest, um, and the way that the Second Amendment is being attacked, that you make a choice for yourself, and do go and follow through with getting some training, finding a reputable gun store, and maybe following Jarhead on his channel to see what he's talking about and the weapons that might be recommended, and get just educated in general because of the crazy atmosphere that the United States is living through, and just be ready. We never know. I know those guys in Missouri didn't know that they had that day they were gonna have to step out the guy even came out without shoes. He was probably, who knows, probably watching TV, and he sees that there's people breaking down his door to his mansion, and he has to go and defend himself and his family. And hopefully we won't find ourselves in that situation, but if that situation's come, we'll be ready. Fabian, I want to give the floor to you. What message do you have for us? What message do you have for America? What message do you have for the people listening right now? And we'll close it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this because I know you're a good believer in Christ. All those things that we talked about are tools. This is just tools. We got to remember that are just tools that we could use.
Mm-hmm.
Our protector is a good Lord and Savior.
Amen.
So as I think David said, "Prepare my hands for combat" or something like that. But as we buy these guns in order to protect our family and things like that, remember to be in prayers because this is just tools.
Amen.
God
Man.
Almighty, He is our protector,
That-
our rock, our defender, our high tower. I mean, we could go about this all day long. So a lot of times people say it because at the end of my videos I said God is in control, and people said things like, "Well, don't you trust in God?" And I always think to myself, well, God made a brain and put it in my, gave me
exactly.
the knowledge for
Exactly.
me to make the right decisions for my family, right? I
That's
do
right.
trust in God, and I am in prayer. And it's okay if you're a Christian man or lady. It's okay
Yes.
for you to get a gun to protect yourself and to protect your family. Don't let anybody shame you or anything like that. There's nowhere in the Bible that says that God is okay with somebody murdering your son.
Mm-hmm.
That's it's okay. Just keep your eyes on the Lord, and there's some tools that could help you out. But remember, He is our protector.
Amen. Fabian, thank you so much, man. This is like, there's some things in life that you never imagined that are going to happen a couple down the years. Never in my life did I imagine a couple years back. I was looking at your YouTube channel that in 2020, I will be doing a show with you, or recording an episode. But God knows everything, and God is in control, right? Thank you so much for the people who share the channel. Go to Fabian's channel, Jarhead6. Go. I'm gonna be leaving links down in the comments down below. Check that out. Go to his channel, subscribe. Go show him some love. I'm not sure if he's selling something over there, but whatever he's selling, help a brother out. And it's very important for the people that share our message to support, again, my message, conservative dollars. Support the people that are sharing your message. Make sure that when you waste your money, when you use your money, you're using it to support our cause. God bless. Godspeed. Me, Valentine. I am out.